we got a lot of new stuff. We're kicking it off with the ATP Cup. Super excited to have that on Tennis Channel. What do you expect, Paul?
I think it's going to be just so exciting, not only to see so many different countries represented, 3 different venues, 3 different parts of the countries of Australia, and to see a lot of these young faces. It's really interesting to me to see some of these players ranked 450. One ranked over 800 with opportunity for huge points and huge money to start their year. This is a career-changing event for a lot of players potentially. We got all the greats there except Roger Federer. It is going to be so much fun. We're starting big at the beginning of the year here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, I think, because the format is just slightly different. We have a few cups out there, but this one playing in different cities and with the rules that they put in place, clearly trying to attract a younger audience and create a little more excitement and energy around the sport, especially at the start of the year. I think that'll be fun, and it'll be interesting to see how players respond and react having to play in 3 different cities. And then if they get to the finals, the semis and finals, having to go to, the one big city in Sydney, I'm interested to see how that unfolds.
Yeah, it is a great way to gear up for the year's first major in Australia. 6 of the top 7 players in the world participating in the ATP Cup. It's a new event, so we've got some new rules. Our Brett Haber on how it all works.
The Aussie summer has been remodeled for the world's greatest and most accomplished stars. We begin with 24 countries broken into 6 groups, playing in 3 of Australia's biggest tennis hubs: Perth Stadium in Western Australia, Pat Rafter Arena in Brisbane, and at Ken Rosewall Arena in Sydney. Each tie will feature 3 matches. It begins with singles between the number 2 ranked players from each nation, then another singles match between the number 1 ranked players, followed by the doubles. After 6 days of round-robin play, the 6 group winners plus the top 2 second-place countries will advance to Sydney for 3 knockout rounds of quarterfinals, semis, and the championship round. Total prize money, $15 million, and accumulating ATP ranking points increases by round and is also affected by the opponent's ranking.
All right, so a lot on the line. Thank you, Brett, for that information. You can win a maximum of 750 points. You see the money there. Points are based on your opponent's ranking. And, Paul, there's some appearance fees as well, so a lot at stake.
Yeah, there's so much at stake. Look, this is a different kind of format. It's not a linear format, round robin, to get into the knockout division. You're going to have more points for beating higher-ranked players. And as you mentioned, appearance fees from about $7,500 all the way up to $250,000. So this is a way to start the year with a big bang. In the 3 different cities in Australia, some of these young faces and names that I mentioned at the beginning, and also to see if the old wily veterans are going to start off with the same kind of gusto we've seen during the last decade.
Yeah, you think about it. Obviously, Grand Slams, you get 2,000 points, ATP Finals 1,500. But then there's Masters 1000s. Nothing's bigger than this. At 750, you go down to 500, 250 events. A lot on the line to start off the year in these 3 cities.
Yeah, I think a big part of it is that some of the lower-ranked players who have an opportunity to get in that wouldn't ordinarily have a shot at this many points. I mean, that's pretty huge. And I think also just to start the year, to get that confidence, to get the matches under your belt. But for a lot of players, they'll still be figuring out how all this works, I think, as they play their way into it.
Yeah, right?
It's just about winning, and we'll see what we end up with at the end. So it'll be interesting, all of those different factors.
Just win, baby. Let's kick it off in Sydney. Our first tie, as we have it at the top of the hour, in this rubber involving Belgium and Moldova. So you see some of the big names. Obviously, David Goffin kind of pops out. He's the guy that's been ranked in the top 10, and last year got to the finals in Cincy, first Wimbledon quarterfinal. Yeah,
and Goffin, look, he's one of the better players on tour for the last kind of 3 or 4 years. Last year didn't have a spectacular year, played better at the end of the year. Radu Albat winning down in Delray at the beginning last year. Steve Darcy is coming back from a bunch of injuries. Really didn't play all of 2018, but at 35 years of age, Darcy's got a lot of talent and is a beautiful one-handed backhand. So the format's going to be really exciting. The thing I'm really looking forward to, too, is we forget as individual athletes how different it is when you play for a team. Now they're playing for a team, they're playing for the country. It's a different type of pressure, different type of expectation. So they're going to be managing different kinds of feelings. And I remember the good old days of trying to do that. It's a different arena.
You got a guy like Alexander Kozbanov. He's ranked outside inside the top 800 in the world, played collegiately at UNLV, now has the opportunity really to cut that ranking in half, if not better.
Well, these are the types of opportunities that, changes the whole game. A player like that who can, come up and get a big win, he's going to be excited, he's going to be energized, and that brings out a whole different level of tennis. So that's part of these team competitions, the formats. They allow for some spectacular wins that maybe are unexpected.
David Goffin going to be a playing captain for Belgium. We have the same situation for Bulgaria, and Grigor Dimitrov is going to be out there on the court as a coach, and then he's going to get about a 10-minute break, and then he's going to be back out there as a player for his country. So some new situations going on in the ATP Cup as we take a look at Great Britain and Bulgaria.
Cam Norrie, one of the more tenacious competitors out there for Team Great Britain. We don't know a ton about Kuzminov. We know that he, too, is one of these players that has struggled to kind of break through at the tour level, so big opportunity for him. And Dan Evans, we've seen a kind of almost a meteoric rise since he had that drug suspension, and playing Grigor Dimitrov for Evans, that's going to be a very tough challenge, but a very flamboyant match with great flair. Two beautiful one-handed backhands in that match.
Let's talk about Grigor Dimitrov a little bit here. Entered the U.S. Open, 78 in the world, one of his lowest rankings in a long time. Now he's a top 20 player again and enters the year with a little bit of confidence.
Yeah, I think he had a nice run. He put together some good matches towards the latter part of this past year, and that should certainly help him. I mean, we've expected so much from Dimitrov, and it's been tough for him, I think, to live up to that consistently, but this is another great opportunity. It's going to be tough against a Great Britain team who Andy Murray was supposed to play pulled out a week ago, but they are still very tough. You consider the experience down the board there. But I think Dimitrov, this is an opportunity for him. If he can stay focused and I think deal with the dual roles, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's a big thing for me. How's Grigor going to handle managing his team and also managing himself? He's a complicated, bright, young guy, but this is a different role for him, and two roles will be a little bit of a juggling act for him.
Beat Roger Federer for the first time in his career last year on the way to the semifinals of the U.S. Open. Looking forward to see Bulgaria in action. How about this one? A lot of young stars when Greece takes on Canada. Big matchup we're looking forward to. Stefanos Tsitsipas against Denis Shapovalov. We also have FAA, the teenager Felix Auger-Aliassime in action. And our Prakash Armitage got to catch up with the team.
How was your offseason? You had such a tremendous year last year.
Yeah, it was good. With the injury at the end of the season, that was kind of a shame. I couldn't play the last two events. Managed to be ready for Davis Cup, played one match. But then after, I think I was able to have a long training season to get me ready and fit. So, I think it was good. And I was able to go through all the weeks without big injuries or tensions or whatever. So for me, it was all positive, good vibes, good energy. I was able to rest also, spend time with my family. So I feel refreshed and ready to go.
We've seen "for love of country" all over the ATP Cup, those words. Talk about that. You seem to be very close with your Canadian group, and playing for the country, a little bit of a special feel.
For sure. I think, for the country, but also for the people around you, your friends, your family, the people that travel together. I think it's good competitions to, say, look, yes, I'm playing, for myself. It's an individual sport, but when you go out there like I did in Davis Cup, you're playing for all the staff that's behind, all the fans that came along, and I think, again, it's playing for the guys that don't have the chance to play on the court, that are on the bench. You're kind of just, paying them respect by giving your best effort and getting a win.
I started last year outside the top 100 and had a magical run. Felix Auger-Aliassime, he mentioned the Davis Cup. Canada got to the finals. The Davis Cup, that was about a month and a half ago. Now they're playing another team event right now to start the gate. Felix, Shapo, and you got Tsitsipas, Chanda. Who do you think out of those three young guns, next-gen stars, has the best 2020?
Well, I think all expectations are on Tsitsipas. I mean, he's right there, a little bit closer than the other two. But I'm looking forward to seeing FAA, seeing how, what kind of year he has. He had a few struggles there in the end last year physically, with some injuries and such. But I think he's got such a great head on his shoulders. You could see from that interview, he's so thoughtful. I think that should really help him as he continues to build his game.
Pretty crazy. Still 18 years old,
so
at
young.
21 in the world, has been to multiple finals. If he can stay healthy, it's going to be a big year for Auger-Aliassime. Meantime, we got an exciting one here. Germany taking on Australia. That means Nick Kyrgios. That means Alexander Zverev. Everyone was talking about a down year for Zverev last year. Yeah, it still gets back to the ATP finals again. And then how about, this could be the tipping point. Kravitz and Mies. They're the doubles team that won the French Open last year, and they're playing for Team Germany.
Yeah, a lot of talent out there. We never know what we're going to get from Nick Kyrgios. And in Brisbane, where they played so many Davis Cup ties, the fans are going to be going crazy there. Alex de Minaur expect to have a terrific year this year. He and Zverev had a brutal Davis Cup match, 5-set win for Zverev back last year, or might even been the year before that. But I just think this is going to be such an interesting matchup. A lot of talent on the court there. And you mentioned that doubles match. That it could come down to that.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Looking forward to see Alex de Minaur, what he will do this year. Another one of those next-gen players taking the next step. As we move on to the United States, taking on Germany, Taylor Fritz and John Isner leading the way. Casper Ruud, the youngster, you would say he's probably the best player for Norway.
Absolutely, and he had some big results last year as well. John Isner on the road back from some injury, so it'll be interesting to see how he starts the year. And Taylor Fritz, who's gotten some matches already under his belt, but everybody's building. Nothing is easy this time of year because it's a little bit of an equalizer where everyone's game is, but Fritz with a great opportunity there.
We've got some insight on Taylor Fritz. Paul, you're his coach, one of his coaches. How's the offseason been? What are we looking forward to? What are the goals for 2020?
You know, we got to spend some good time with David Nankin, who has been at the reins with Taylor for the last 5 years or so out in Carson. So a lot of good work done there. I think this is a good situation for the young players, for someone like Taylor to be able to be on a team with someone like John Isner. John's been through so much, knows exactly how to handle pressure, is very professional. Be really good for Taylor to spend time with him. David McPherson's the captain of that team. So a good learning week for Taylor Fritz. And for Taylor, this is a tough first match because in a weird way, you kind of, as a young player, want to play someone where the expectations are lower. He's supposed to win this match. So there's more pressure when you're supposed to win versus when you can swing freely. So different kind of pressure today for Fritz, but he's got the veteran John Isner there to help him through as well.
John Isner, a decade in the top 20, last 10 years.
Amazing.
Absolutely so consistent leading American tennis. Meantime, Russia will be taking on Italy, and Russian tennis is on the rise. We saw what Daniil Medvedev did at the end of 2019. Corinne Khachanov was in the top 10 at the beginning of the season, still in the top 20. And then Fabio Fognini, who won his first Masters 1000 last year for Italy, beats Rafa Nadal on the way to winning Monte Carlo.
Yeah, this should be a fantastic matchup. Of course, Russia, those guys, Khachanov and Medvedev doing double duty. But I think it would be good, especially that match with Fognini and Medvedev. Definitely a blockbuster matchup there. They've both been in form. But again, to start the year, you just wonder where everybody will be.
Yeah, that's the thing at the beginning of any new year. You wonder what's happened during the offseason. And for someone like Medvedev, who had such a stellar last year, what's the sophomore year of greatness going to look like? Different landscape of expectation internally and externally. And I think that's tricky to manage, but I tell you what, he did a terrific job last year dealing with it. And his coach, Gilles Savard, did an amazing job to manage it. So it's going to be fun to watch that one as well.
Another cool thing with the ATP Cup are the captains. Marat Safin is leading Team Russia, the Hall of Famer, so we get to look at him as we've got, cameras everywhere and audio everywhere, so we're going to get to see these captains coaching the players on the court. A lot more still to come here on Tennis Channel Live. Prakash going to go one-on-one with Stefanos Tsitsipas in Brisbane. Plus, smells like teen spirit in the U.S. They are on the rise, and John Worthon breaks down the next generation of American women tennis.
I have moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now there's Skyrizi. 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months after just 2 doses.
Skyrizi may increase your risk of infections and lower your ability to fight them. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections.